Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of our life seasons where we talk about the different seasons of life and the life lessons that comes with it and how we grow and flow through it. So, before I begin today's topic, I just want to be really vulnerable and honest, a little life update on how I've been. I have been actually quite I would say in a rut lately where I was struggling with certain emotions that I was facing a few weeks back. But right now I'm in a much better place, and that is why I kind of want to give a little update. So I'm going through a transition in my life right now in terms of career wise. So I would definitely be making an episode on this, but just not now. I'm not going to go into details right now, but I just feel like, for this podcast, because like I mentioned, I'm going to be really vulnerable and honest with the journey that I'm in at this current moment. I feel like I'm in spring season where it's new beginnings. And yeah, a lot of things are still in the air, but I would say that right now I feel much better. And it also inspired me to talk about today's topic, which is complain queens and complain queens. Like, this is a episode that is dedicated to all my complain kings and complain queens, because I'm not okay. Just to preface by saying, this episode is by no means an attack to anyone. It's an identity that I have been holding on to so dearly to my heart for the past few years of my life, and I never actually want to look at myself in the face and be like, you are actually a complaint queen. Because, like, I think like everyone else, we just want to see ourselves as someone that is really, nice. We just want to see the good side of ourselves, right? And it's really hard for us to sit down and just look at this side of ourselves that we want to change, but have been struggling to change, at least for me. I know that I have this tendency of complaining or just rambling on and on and on about any inconvenience in life, or things that I am super upset about, or things that I just want to rant about. But it took me a very long time to be able to sit down with myself and finally be able to let go of this identity. So this is why I want to talk about this topic, because only until recently, because of the situation that I'm in, because of the transition that I'm in right now, I've learned to actually fully let go of this identity of complaining, of ranting, and stuff like that. You know what I mean, right? So I would say that, when I was thinking about it, like, why would one want to complain or just sit there and rant about certain things that they're unhappy about in life, right? And it's very normal for us to face situations that angers us, that we have resentment against, that we hold grudges, people that we hold grudges against. It's very normal. It's just a human reaction, right? And a human emotion. But I would say that in terms of long run, when you think about it long run, it's not gonna help you. And it definitely didn't help me, because I became someone that was so upset, was constantly triggered, and I was so reactive to anything and everything that happens to me. With be it my environment, or be it the people that I know of, be it in work or with friends and stuff like that. My first instinct is to always react, and this did not serve me at all. And it took me, yes, very long to process all these and tell myself that enough is enough. Because right now, I'm literally experiencing it right now. That, I'm so done complaining about the situations that I'm in. I'm so done just focusing on this negativity. Even though I would say that overall, in general, I'm someone that is a little bit more like positive and uplifting. But sometimes I do get my times where I'm really just down, and I'm really just this negative Nancy, and I just want to rant. I just want to just let everything out. And I talk about this a lot, right? Like, letting your emotions out and sitting with your emotions and allowing yourself to flow through your emotions. And I always misunderstood this concept with renting it out. Right? I always tell myself, or I think I hear a lot of times people would say that, just let me rent. I just want rent. Because I remember I used to tell my partner, or even my friends, that, I just need to rent. I don't need your opinion. I don't need your take on this, but I just need to rent and let it out. And I think for the longest period of time, I actually fooled myself with this statement of just saying that I want to just rent it out and I'll feel better after, because that's a total lie. That's bullshit because I never actually felt better. What it made me, like through these renting sessions and just through me repeating what exactly happened or what exactly triggered me, just allowed me to relive that moment again. And it brings out a lot more anger, a lot more resentment, a lot more negative emotions. And at the end of the day, I'm just tired from just renting. It doesn't really help me, honestly speaking. Like, if you have ever faced any situation, or if you're currently in a situation where you're just so upset with the things that happen in life with certain people, and you're waking up every single day complaining about the same shit over and over again of how toxic this person may be, or how this person's actions you just don't understand, like their thought process, or why does it have to be certain way, why would people be like that, like how can someone do certain things and not blink an eye, or that type of thing. Like, it's a lot of this I don't understand, like it's not me, I'm not, I don't understand why they do certain things, or blah 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 blah, right? You're just angered, you're just angry at certain situations, at certain people for whatever reason. Is that reason valid? Sure. But is it gonna help you waking up every single day talking about the same shit over and over again? No. So this was like the hardest truth that I have to sit with myself and tell myself that nothing changes when nothing changes. I've been living life like this for the past I don't know how many years of my life, that at the slightest inconvenience I would just rant and I would just burst out with anger and resentment against that person or that situation. But at the end of the day, nothing changes except for the fact that I'm even more angry than ever. And I think the worst part was to rent it out to someone, to my friends, or to just to someone, even to my mom, and them and that person actually reciprocate your energy. I think that's the worst. I'm not saying that it's their fault, but I'm just saying that this situation makes it worse than what it what we think it is, or what the situation actually is. Sometimes I feel like that particular situation might not be as bad as we think it is, but we like to play certain scenarios in our head over and over again. We amplify a lot of things, we start to assume certain things, we start to magnify the whole entire situation to a point whereby, oh, it's just so overwhelming, and you're just even more angry than ever. And when you bring this anger to a conversation, trying to open inverted rant it out, just hoping that someone would listen to you, I feel like deep down what we actually want is validation. What we are actually looking for is for someone to agree with us that, oh, this person or this situation is messed up, that you have the right to be angry, right? I think this is the validation that we want to seek from someone when we just say that we want to rent. Because honestly speaking, we know that renting it out do us no good, that it's not going to change anything. The situation happened, the person will still remain the same, right? What it does is just makes you more pissed off and make you more like angry. And I think we find joy, weirdly enough, we find joy, or rather I found joy in telling someone that situation and getting so angry and then them matching my energy. It's the most messed up shit ever that no one tells you about. But it really is like, you know, this bad and toxic behavior of renting to someone, and that person actually reciprocates with your energy and validates your actions and your emotions, right? And I feel like there's no right or wrong. It's just that on when I sit down and think about it, it really doesn't help. It really doesn't help. Like, be honest with yourself at this moment and ask yourself, the times that you rant, the times that you use an excuse of I just want to let it out, I just want to let my emotions out and I'll be fine. Are you really fine after that? Were you really fine after that? Do you feel actually like lighter or happier? Yes, you may feel more relaxed at the moment, a little bit lighter. But at the end of the day, I think especially when someone agrees with your point and adds oil to the fire, I think you are like more pissed off than ever. And you spend the whole entire time, the whole entire hour, or the whole entire day just feeling upset. Like I mentioned, nothing changes when nothing changes. So when I think of about it that way, whenever I always say that nothing changes when nothing changes, this is the moment where I start to realize something needs to change. And what exactly is it? So it took me some time to figure out exactly why I would react certain way, or why would I want to rant. and sit with myself and understand that this all comes from this very reactive behavior where I finally understood like this phrase of me giving people ability to control how I feel. And I am someone that do not, for the life of me, do not like it when I give control to someone, when someone has control over my life. What am I talking about? But yeah, you get what I mean. Like I cannot accept that someone has control over the way I feel, someone has control over the way that that they can make me feel that would affect my whole entire day, right? I cannot accept that, and I feel like when I complain about certain things or when I allow this situation to happen, something's wrong. So I think that was the biggest step in the face where I sat down and be like, this is exactly what I'm doing. I hate the fact that I am allowing people to control the way I feel and allowing that particular situation to affect the few weeks or the few months that I'm still holding on to these grudges and to this anger and resentment, that it affects the way I live my life, right? And when I see that there is no point in holding on to these emotions, in holding on to these situations, everything just changes. I think one of the conversations that I had with my dad, not even recently, yesterday I had with my dad, I was telling him how upset I was with work and the situation that I was handling at work. It was just a lot of hoo-ha and drama and stuff like that. And I told him that I was really stressed out and by that toxic environment, by that toxic behavior. And let me tell you this, he is the only person in my life that can sit down, hear me rant, look me straight in the eye, and be like, what good can you get out of this situation? When he said that yesterday, I was like, what? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I am so pissed off. I'm so angry right now, and I just needed to rant. And you're here sitting, like, in front of me, looking me in the eye, and ask me what good can I think of to whatever situation that I was facing or to this person. It's insane. Like, it's normal for you to be more pissed off because I was like stunned. I was so shocked at the fact that this was the question that he asked me, or this was the response that he had after my whole entire, I think, 10 minutes of rant. Because usually, like I mentioned, when I go to people to rant things like that, or to my close friends to rant things like that, they would agree with me. Okay, they would be like, oh my god, yeah, that's so messed up, like why would she do blah 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 blah. And when I know this group of people that I approach, I know that they're gonna back me up no matter what, right? Like that's what friends do. But let me tell you this, that I know exactly what I was doing when I approach people like that, or not people like that, but when I approach my friends to rant. And my dad takes no bullshit, and I think this is one of the things that I appreciate my dad a lot. So if you have someone in your life that can sit down and look at you dead in the eyes and shift your perspective and not be afraid to go against you when they feel like it's wrong, please cherish these people because there's really not much, especially for me. I mean, for me in my life, my dad is the only one. Even my mom, like, she would agree with me, or she'll make me feel a little bit better, or she would try to understand, right? But my dad is someone that takes no bullshit, like, from anyone. And this is one thing that I admire him a lot. And he has taught me a lot on gratitude. He has always, since young, he has always teach me to look at things from a different perspective. He has always, in his own way, right? And I was when I was young, I used to feel like, oh my god, he's such a party pooper. Like, he loves to just ruin the whole entire vibe and the whole entire mood. So I don't go to him for rants. I don't go to him for anything because I feel like he's just gonna be so logical and so right. I think I hate the fact that he was right about a lot of things. And until, like, as I grow older, I tend to realize that, certain things that he say are for the better and for my growth. And I really appreciate that now, especially yesterday. Literally, I was so shocked. I couldn't even tell you, like, I wish I could reenact the whole entire expression that I had when I hear him say this statement of, like, what good can you get out of this? What good can you get out of renting? And what are the positive takeaways that you can get out of this situation? I'm like, you must be kidding me. You must be insane. But this was exactly what I needed. And this was exactly what inspired this podcast because he puts me into perspective and he allows at that moment, that split second, he literally shifted my perspective and the way I view things. From looking at things at this really negative spot and how messed up this person is, how messed up this situation is, how can someone be like that, to appreciating what I have, to appreciating this situation and how this situation has actually helped me in life. And I was so shocked at how quickly my mind started to find things to be grateful for. How quickly I started to shift from resentment and anger into gratitude. And it shocks me to date. Like, I am so shocked at how fast our mind can work for us for the better when you start to ask the right questions. Because I think previously, prior to telling him this, I was also always focusing on the wrong question or the wrong perspective of like, why is this happening to me? Why is she like that? Why is this person this and that? How is this even happening? Or how is this even possible? I shifted all of this to what good can I get out of it? There's nothing. Honestly, there's nothing good to get out of like me ranting and just hating on the person and just being upset, right? There's nothing good. And he always says that like um there will always be things that you can be grateful for in any situation. And that's one of the things that I really admire him on, because I am really reactive. My personality is pretty much like my dad, but he has grown, and of course like he's an adult, right? He has grown through a lot of situations to know that gratitude is the way to go. Seeing things with love is the way to go. So he always teach me to look at things with love, even though you find it really hard to find compassion for that person. For the life of you, just dig it out. Like, honestly speaking, like I would sit there, like right now, before coming onto this podcast and before talking about this situation and this episode, I was sitting with myself and I was showering that person, that particular situation with so much love. I meditated and I was sending so much love to that person because I understand that he or she may not be aware of what they're doing. Even if they are aware, it doesn't really matter, because what matters most is how I view this particular situation and how, whether or not I'm giving that situation or that person the power to change my day, to affect my day, to change my mindset. So I think that immediately allowed me to go from being resentful and angry to slightly irritated and annoyed to gratitude. So it is like, how to put it? Like, just imagine your emotions as a, I don't know, as like different levels, right? So the top part is the one that you're really positive, and then the bottom part is like you being really angry and negative, right? It takes time and progress to go from the bottom all the way to the top. I don't think that it is possible, or rather that it is reasonable to say that you want to shoot straight from like positive to negative immediately, or negative to positive. Okay, actually, honestly, negative to positive is harder than positive to negative, because going positive to negative is a little bit harder. But anyways, I feel like when you start to slowly just understand that, in order for you to feel positive, you don't have to do it immediately. You can always talk yourself out of certain situations and allow yourself to feel the certain emotions. And like I mentioned previously, when I talk about allowing yourself to feel certain emotions, I'm not talking about just sitting there and babbling on and on and on about what happened. What I'm essentially saying is that when you let out emotions, or when you are feeling through emotions, you should be asking questions like, what can I get out of this situation? Or what good can I get out of this situation? What lessons can I learn from this situation? What can I be grateful for right now? Or how have this particular person or situation helped me in the past to become who I am today? Because I can tell you this, that in life, like I mentioned in one of the podcast episodes, where there is duality of life, there's good, there's bad, there's negative, there's positive, right, there's left. And when we understand this, no matter how pissed off you are at the situation, you will still be able to find something to be grateful for. Even though it may take you a little longer, or even though it may be just one single thing that you can be grateful for is enough. I feel like the most important part is for you to actually start to set the intention to shift your perspective, to decide that you want to change the way you view certain things. Because I think what has helped me a lot is that when I journal, I love to write down how I visualize this higher self to be like this favorite self, my favorite self, or this future self, right? Because I would love to be known as this high value woman that is really respected by others, right? And when I say high value women, I don't mean that, you know, I have the ability to disrespect people. I'm like higher than the rest, because I always feel like everyone is equal, right? But when I talk about high value women, is that when someone looks at you, or when someone, you don't even need to say, your presence can be felt when you enter a certain space or you enter a certain room, right? People know to not disrespect you because you carry yourself so well. And that is something that I really, really, really love. And I really, really, really want to embody this identity. And I'm on my way there. I'm still working towards this goal of mine. But whenever I journal, I would write down, you know, how would she act and how would she feel, how would she walk, how would she speak, what are the words that she would use, right? So these are things that really helped me. So whenever I feel angry or whenever I get triggered by certain situations, the first thing that pop up in my mind is, will she react this way? Will she go to her friends or go to anyone that who will listen to start ranting and to start just babbling on and on and on about how bad the situation is or why this situation actually happened to her? No, the answer is really clear, because the version of this, like of this high level self, of this high value women or men, will not tolerate negativity, will not tolerate things that are just not helpful for her growth, right? So when I put it into perspective, when I put things into perspective, and when I vision myself being her and embodying myself, living that life that I want to live, whatever that I desire, right? Because a high value, for me at least, a high value woman gets what she wants in the way that she wants it, right? So this is by no means, don't take this out of context and be like, oh my gosh, she's so like everything has to be a certain way, she's so up there, like she disrespects people. No, what I'm saying is that you respect yourself enough to know that you set boundaries and people are not gonna step all over you, okay? And you can always set boundaries in a really respectful way. And a high value woman to me is always really calm and collected. She doesn't react to anything and everything. She's really just peaceful. You can just imagine her, like how I imagine her to be. She's in a black dress, she is well kept, she is really, I don't know, like just neat, you know, she's really high, she's really powerful. Like you can feel her aura and her vibe when she's walking. She's walked slowly, she's not rushing to get to anywhere. When people talk to her, she's always putting on a smile and always, you know, greeting people with respect and with love. This is the version that I want to be, my future self, my best self, my favorite self, however you want to call it, right? So there is this version of you, and I want you to sit down and start writing or even thinking and visualizing how he or she is like. What would she say? What would she do? How would he or she react to certain situations? And put this situation, whenever you have situations or you find yourself being caught up in situations that you would want to react to immediately, train your mind to think about how would this particular favorite self of you like react, this future self react to this situation. Would she or he be, you know, I don't know, throwing tantrums or just shouting back at that particular person or situation? Probably not. So when you put things into perspective, you realize that, you know, decisions get, like you make decisions easier, and you enter this high level self even faster. And when you do that, you quantum leap into this person that you never thought that you could be, right? This future self, this favorite self that everyone respects and know not to mess with. Okay, I don't know what that version of you may look like. It may not be as elegant, it may not be as like, you know, calm and collected. You may be someone that is just really bubbly in personality in general, but whatever that looks like for you, right? All I'm saying is that whenever you face situations that you just want to react to, right, take the step back, look at it from a third party's perspective, and ask yourself whether or not you are gaining anything out of anger, resentment, or ranting. Because if you're not gaining anything, it's not going to help you. It's going to make you even worse. So you might as well don't waste your time doing it, okay? Remember that nothing changes when nothing changes. So change the way that you view certain things, change the way that you approach certain things, and change the way that you view yourself. in order to change the things that is happening to you, change the way that you react to certain things, and change your mindset. Okay, because sometimes we really need that third party perspective, or that third party to tell you that, hey, it's okay, you don't have to react that certain way. And these people are usually hated on. They are like the person that no one likes, because they are always there. They're always there, like, I don't know, they're just not fun people per se, right? But they are really important people that you need in your life, okay? And right now, I want to be that person for my friends. I want to be this person for the people around me, even for my parent, for my mom, or for my brother. Like, I no longer want to sit there and be like joining in all this fun, this open inverted fun, of ranting and just venting everything out and just babbling on and on and on about certain situation and being more angry. So there's no point. Honestly, there's no point. Okay. And I would say that when you start to embody this high level version of you, this high value version of yourself, you realize that the people who used to be entertained by your drama or by your rant session, they're gonna slowly start to pull away from you, because you become a little bit more boring. You become someone that is not as fun anymore, or you become that party pooper. Okay, and that's completely okay. That is fine. So right now you may be asking, so does that mean that I have to be alone? Does that mean that, I lose certain friends? Yes. And if that means that you can find inner peace, and if that means that you can continue to grow yourself, to develop yourself into someone that you want to be, someone that can handle more stuff in the future, then I would say yes, be alone. By all means, go ahead. Work on yourself. Okay, because when one thing that I can guarantee is that when you work on yourself and when you work on your mentality, the people around you will start to change. Your circle of friends will start to change. Okay, because those people that are sitting with you and who are renting with you, these people, they have things to work on themselves. It's I'm not saying that you have to ditch them and stuff like that. You can, of course, try to input your perspective and try to let them know that, hey, I am currently, wanting to be this high level version of myself, and I'm pulling away from all this negativity. And if that person respects you enough to know that, this is who you want to be, they would learn from you, or even you would start to see that they will reciprocate with your vibe and your energy. And if they don't, it's okay, you can always leave, or they will leave. It's fine. Okay, everyone is on their own journey in life, and we don't want to ever force someone to believe what you believe and to go through what you go through, because everyone is different, like I mentioned, right? So I would say that always put yourself out of the situation and ask yourself if whatever that you're going to respond, or whatever that you're going to react, is it even worth reacting to it? Okay, so I would say that slowly but surely you will start to actually realize that, as time pass, as you are learning this new lesson, there will be tests that is given from the universe to see how well you are doing, how much you've actually learned. And know that this test, there's no pass or fail, like, your school exams and stuff like that. It's just for you to see where, like, how far you've actually progressed. And if you, let's just say, still react, and it's very normal for us to react to certain things that really triggers us, I would say that take that chance to really look deep down, dig deeper, to know, like, what is it particular that you are triggered by, and why would you be triggered by that. Try to solve it once and for all, and you'll be fine. Okay, so I would say that um today's takeaway is more of like, ask yourself exactly who you want to be, and how would he or she act, how would he or she talk, and always keep this person in mind. And every single day, whatever decision that you make from this high level version of you. Okay, because you will never ever ever go wrong when you're making decisions from this high level version of you, because he or she is so much more mature and wiser than your current self. Okay, so I would say that um if you're listening to this podcast and you're part of this family, I trust that you know better. I trust that you know that it's about time that you tell yourself, enough bullshit of talking about, how I just want to rant and I'll feel better. This excuse is overdue. Like, you gotta work on this part of yourself if you want to. And of course, it'll be good if you can. And I hope that this podcast, you'll be able to resonate with it. There's no, like I mentioned, there's no good or bad in terms of complaining. We're all humans after all. Sometimes we just need to let some steam off. But if you're doing it constantly and if you're doing it every now and then, like I mentioned, it's not gonna help you. You know, you just live a life that is filled with so much resentment and anger. And I used to be like that, and that is why I want to create this podcast episode to tell you that it's possible to go from being this complaint king or queen to someone that just look at things and be like, you know what, it's okay. There's no point in me reacting to it. So you're able to just look at situations and be like, doesn't matter because I am good with where I am right now, and this is not worth me, feeling angry about, or it's not worth me worrying about and stuff like that. So you really just are able to just sit there and allow yourself to soak in the present moment and not to be as reactive as ever, and find no joy in actually renting things out just for the sake of it and hoping that your emotions get validated. Okay, because your emotions will only be validated by yourself and can only be validated by yourself, no matter how much others might agree or disagree with whatever that you're feeling. You allow yourself to change the story that you're telling yourself. You allow yourself to change the identity that you want to identify with, and the stories that you choose to hold on to. Okay, because you have the power to change every single thing. Like I mentioned, you always have the power and you're always in control of how you want to feel, how you want to think, how you want to act. Okay, because your thoughts leads to your actions. Okay, so just know that you have control of your life. You have control of anything and everything that you get thrown at. Okay, so I would say that um take some time to be alone, to think about how you have been, to reflect on your life for the past few years, and just look at yourself from a third party perspective and see what comes up, because that's always a fun game to do, at least for me. And I believe that this would actually benefit a lot of people. So this is definitely a tough process, to tell myself that I am cutting off this part of me, this side of me that I've been holding on to for the past I don't know how many years, and right now I'm willing to let her go. Will I feel angry and like, I don't know, resentful sometimes after this? Maybe yes. But will I switch myself out of it quickly and allow myself to be in gratitude? Yes. So I would say that we are always, like I mentioned, we're always learning, and we're literally students of life. So we're always learning life lessons, and whatever that has happened in our life is there for a reason, and they're always helping us to learn and to grow. So no shame to people who are complaint kings and queens. No shame to you. I was like that. I just want to say that if you want to, of course, and if you feel like this episode resonate with you, I hope that you take away certain things, and you can start your journey to changing yourself, your mindset, your story, whatever it is that you want to change, and welcome on board to this journey where you'll be growing so much more than you can ever imagine, and you'll never stop learning. Okay, so this is what I want to cover for today's episode, because it came so timely. Like I mentioned, I always have my episodes like listed out, right? And one thing that I find so fascinating is that my episode topics has always been aligning with what I am facing at this current situation. I mean, at this current moment when I'm recording it. Okay, because literally, like I mentioned, this I have been complaining about like my work situation. I've been complaining about certain people because the values just don't align. And I've been doing that for the past almost a year now. So enough is enough. I had enough of my own bullshit. And today is the day, while I'm recording this, is also a reminder to myself that, today is the day that I'm gonna throw this side of me out and constantly remind myself of this high value women, this high value lady that is ever so elegant, and yeah, someone that that I would want to respect, someone that when I look at her I'll be like, oh my god, I want to be like her. Okay. So yeah, anyways, like I just want to sidetrack by saying today's vibe is just really amazing because it's currently raining. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it's currently raining. And yeah, I just love vibes like this with anything. I feel like this podcast episode just came in at the perfect time, And yeah, everything just flows. I just love today's vibe, and I'm so proud to say that I'm in such a better place as compared to past few weeks. And yeah, I hope that you take something out of this episode. And I know I ramble on a little bit, but I would say that as per usual, I trust that whatever that I say, you can definitely take one thing or at least two out of this podcast and work on yourself and really continue to grow and improve yourself. So thank you for being part of this journey with me to figure life out. And I hope that you enjoy today's podcast. So yeah, that's all for this week's episode, and I'll see you in the next one.